The room was silent, filled with tension and glowing screens. Aliens from the Council of Systems sat in high chairs, their eyes glowing with suspicion. The humans sat on the opposite side, led by a young man named Jack Carter, a former Marine. Turned negotiator, between the two sides sat the one who is both observer and translator, Siren, the daughter of the alien High Minister. She was tall and slender, with soft violet skin and silver markings that shimmered under the council lights. Her voice was calm, her face unreadable. She had trained for years to keep her emotions hidden, but that day, everything changed with one sentence. Jack leaned forward, casually resting his elbows on the table. He looked at Siren with a slight grin and whispered so only she could hear. "You know, if this goes well, I might ask you to dinner." Siren froze for 3 long seconds. She didn't move, her eyes widened slightly. Her pupils dilated. Then, to everyone's shock, she made a strange sound and began coughing violently. Her drink spilled from her cup. She turned a deep shade of purple across her cheeks. Jack blinked. "Whoa, are you okay?" he asked, reaching out. Siren pushed his hand away quickly, her voice strained. You cannot say such things in public." Jack looked around, confused. The alien officials stood from their chairs, whispering in their own language. One of them looked furious, another looked embarrassed. "What did I say?" Jack asked. Siren stood quickly, trying to compose herself. She bowed slightly to the council and walked out. Her head lowered and steps quick. Jack followed, catching up with her in the hallway outside the chamber. "Wait, slow down. What just happened in there? Did I say something rude?" Siren stopped and turned. Her eyes were bright with panic and frustration. "In your culture, what does ask to dinner mean?" Jack scratched his head. It's like getting to know someone, talking, maybe having a good time." "Why?" "In my culture," she said slowly, "those words mean a request for permanent bonding, a formal proposal for mating." Jack's mouth fell open. "Wait, what?" "That's not what I meant. I just meant food, not marriage." She crossed her arms, still flustered. "You said it in front of the entire council. Do you understand what this means? They think I accepted. They think I consented. To you, that's why I choked on my drink." Jack backed up a little, running both hands through his hair. "Oh no, I messed this up, didn't I?" "You did," she replied. But her voice was softer now. There was silence between them. Then a sudden sound, a burst of laughter. It took Jack a second to realize it came from Siren. She covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes crinkling. "You humans are truly insane," she said. Jack grinned, relieved. "Well, we try our best." They stood together for a moment in the quiet hallway, just two people from different worlds trying to make sense of one mistake. Siren looked away, then added, "Still, the council may take this seriously. You should be careful. Varthok is already watching you." "Varthok?" Jack asked, the big guy with the glowing horns and a permanent frown. "He is the son of another minister," Siren said. "He has tried to court me many times, but I refused him." Jack nodded slowly. "Oh, so I just made a powerful alien jealous? Fantastic." Siren looked at him again, her tone uncertain. "Why did you say that to me?" Jack smiled, his voice more serious now. "Because I like the way you talk. I like how you explain things, and I like that you laugh when you're not supposed to." She blinked, her blush returning, this time slower, warmer. "You are ... very bold," she whispered. "And you're beautiful," Jack said, without hesitation. "Even when you're scolding me." She looked away, her markings glowing softly. "Do not say such things if you do not mean them." "I meant them," Jack said gently. Siren's heart beat faster, but she hid it well. "This is dangerous," she warned. "Maybe," he said, "but sometimes danger leads to something good." She didn't reply. Instead, she turned and walked back toward the chamber. Her steps slower now. Her mind raced with thoughts she didn't dare say out loud. Behind her, Jack stayed still. Watching her go, a smile touched his lips. What started as a misunderstanding was now something else, something neither of them expected, and deep in the shadows. Varthok had been watching the entire exchange. The next morning, Jack Carter was summoned to the alien guest chamber. It was early, too early for someone who stayed up late reading alien etiquette manuals. But he showed up, hair messy, boots mismatched, still rubbing sleep from his eyes. Inside the room, Cyrene stood waiting. Not in her official robes, but in a plain silver tunic. Her expression was unreadable as usual, but her hands were clasped tightly in front of her. "You came," she said softly. "Of course," Jack replied, trying to smile. "I had a dream that you challenged me to a dance duel in front of 1,000 aliens. I lost, and then I woke up." Cyrene blinked slowly. "That is not entirely far from what could happen." Jack tilted his head. "That doesn't make me feel better." She took a deep breath. "I asked you to meet in private because I need to explain more things. Your words yesterday caused confusion, not only for me, but for others too. If we do not clear it, things will escalate. Look, I never meant to insult you," Jack said quickly. "In my culture, asking someone to dinner is normal. It doesn't mean mating, marriage, or anything crazy. Just food." She nodded. "I understand that now, but our cultures are built on different meanings. In mine, offering food is not casual. It is a symbol of intent, of bonding." Jack raised a brow. "Then I guess humans would seem careless to your people?" "Yes," she replied, "or wildly seductive." Jack laughed out loud before covering his mouth. "Sorry, it's just that's the first time I've been called seductive in an alien language." Cyrene looked away, the tip of her ear glowing slightly. "Be serious, Jack. There are consequences coming. One of the ministers demanded a clarification from me. He believes I accepted your bond." Jack's eyes widened. "Wait, so does that mean I'm your fiancé in alien terms?" She glared at him. "Not funny." Okay. Not joking anymore," he said quickly, raising his hands. "What can we do to fix it? There may be a formal ritual to undo the misunderstanding," she said carefully, "but it requires us to perform a ceremony of denial before witnesses, declaring we do not belong together." Jack frowned. "That sounds really dramatic." "It is," she whispered. "And painful." "Why painful?" "Because," Cyrene hesitated, "it is usually done when two people were truly bonded and have chosen to separate. It will look like I rejected you publicly." Jack stared at her, then said softly, "Do you want to do it?" She didn't answer. Instead, she asked, "Why did you say I'm beautiful?" Jack blinked. "Because you are, and because I meant it." Cyrene's hands tightened around each other. "You humans are strange. Your words are too open, too dangerous. You speak from the heart as if the world will not punish you." Jack stepped closer. "Maybe that's because we've already been punished enough by the world. Maybe we stopped caring what people think." Her eyes met his. "I care what they think," she said quietly. "But I also care what you think now. And that is a problem." There was a long silence. Then Jack said, "What if we don't deny it?" "What?" She gasped. "You want to confirm the bond?" "No," he said with a laugh. "I'm saying, what if we wait? Don't deny, don't confirm, just stay honest and see where it goes." Cyrene shook her head. "That will anger Varthok." "Let him be angry," Jack replied. "I've faced scarier things than a jealous alien with horns." "You have not met him in combat," she warned. Jack smirked. "I've met worse in a bar fight on Mars." Before she could answer, a small communication drone entered the chamber. It hovered between them and blinked red. Message for Human Carter. It beeped. You are summoned by Commander Hadley. For breach of cultural boundaries, Jack groaned. That sounds serious. It is, Siren said with a soft sigh. Go to him. Explain everything clearly. Use no jokes, no casual words. Just say exactly what happened. I'll try. Jack nodded, then paused. Hey, Cial. Yes. I meant everything I said, he added. Not because of your culture, not because of your people, just because I like you. She didn't speak, but her markings glowed brighter. After Jack left, Siren stood still, her chest rising and falling slowly in her hand. She held a small folded paper Jack had left behind. On it were the words, Tell me if I mess up again. I'd rather learn than lose you. She smiled, just a little, but deep in the council chambers. Varthok watched the recordings again and again, his claws tapped against the armrest. His pride wounded, his fury growing. He would not allow this human to make the alien girl blush again, not without consequences. The twin moons of Arvalis drifted quietly across the night sky, casting soft silver light over the surface of the alien capital ship. The deck gardens, usually empty this late, now held a quiet tension hidden beneath the glowing trees and floating lanterns. A secret meeting was about to happen. Jack Carter arrived first, wearing the only formal clothes he had, a slightly wrinkled uniform jacket and black boots. He carried a small box in his hand, something wrapped in cloth, something human. He looked around nervously, wondering if this was a trap or worse, a mistake. Then he saw her. Siren walked toward him slowly, wearing a flowing robe of midnight blue. Her silver markings shimmered under the moonlight like stars. A faint breeze lifted the edge of her robe as she approached, and Jack forgot how to breathe for a moment. You came, he said softly. I should not have, she replied. But I did. There was a long pause between them, filled only by the soft sounds of water flowing from a small fountain nearby. Why here? Jack asked. This place is sacred, she said, usually reserved for courtship ceremonies. Jack's heart skipped. So, this is a date. She looked away, a faint glow spreading across her cheeks. No, this is a clarification ritual. You and I must show there is no bond, so others stop whispering. Jack sighed. Right? Of course, no bond, but, she added quickly, we are allowed to exchange symbols to honor the misunderstanding. That way we both keep dignity. Jack nodded. I brought something. He opened the small box and showed her what was inside. It was a tiny object, flat and shiny, a human coin on one side. It had the face of an old president. On the other, a symbol of Earth. In my world, Jack said, we flip coins to make decisions. But more than that, this one's special. It survived a fire back home. I kept it ever since. Siren reached out and gently took the coin. Her fingers brushed his, and for a second, neither moved. Thank you, she whispered. May I give you something in return? Sure, Jack said. Unless it's a battle axe. She didn't laugh. Instead, she pulled a small crystal pendant from her wrist. It pulsed with faint light. This holds a memory. Mine. She said, it's private. Something I never shared. You may keep it or destroy it. Jack held the pendant carefully. What's in it? You would have to link it with your thoughts to find out, she said. But not tonight. They stood quietly again under the moons, and something shifted between them. It wasn't the rules, or the rituals, or the council's judgment. It was something human, something real. I still don't understand, Jack said after a moment. How can words be so dangerous here? I mean, if I said you're beautiful again, would that cause war? Siren looked up, her eyes soft. No, she said, but it might cause me to fall. Fall. Jack asked. Fall into trouble, she whispered. Fall into something I was warned against. Jack smiled. Maybe I'm not the worst kind of trouble. No, she agreed, but you are still trouble. Just then, soft footsteps echoed from the path behind them. Siren tensed. Jack turned, and standing there was Varthok, tall, broad, and angry. You were told not to see him, Varthok growled. This dishonors your house. This is not your concern. Siren said firmly, Leave us, you. Shame your bloodline, Varthok said, to stand under the moons with a human. Jack stepped forward. Look, buddy, I didn't ask for your approval. Varthok's eyes glowed. Speak again, and I will silence you. Siren stepped. Between them, enough. If you raise your hand here, you break sacred law, Varthok sneered. Then I will challenge him under law. Let him fight in the circle. If he loses, he leaves this ship forever. Jack raised a brow. Fight. What kind of fight? Duel of hearts, Siren whispered, her voice shaken. You must stand before the clan and defend your intentions, not with weapons, but with truth. Jack looked from her to Varthok. Fine, he said. I'll tell them the truth. Varthok smirked and turned to leave, prepared to be exiled, human, as he disappeared into the shadows. Jack looked at Siren. Did I just get myself into something crazy again? She nodded slowly. Yes, but this time, I will stand with you. He reached for her hand, and this time, she didn't pull away. Under the twin moons of Arvalis, their hearts had already chosen their side, and the whole galaxy would soon witness. The recording went viral within hours. What began as a private moment under the moons turned into the most watched event on both human and alien networks. Millions saw the coin, the pendant, the touch, and the silent glance between Jack and Siren. But not everyone saw love. Some saw betrayal. Inside the council chambers, the ministers shouted over each other. Some accused Siren of disgrace. Others called for her removal. Her father, Minister Koril, sat in silence, his jaw tight, his eyes cold. She has chosen emotion over duty. One elder hissed, and not just with anyone. A human, a soldier from a lesser species. She has broken no laws, said another. But she has opened a door we were never ready to walk through. Varthok stepped forward, calm but deadly. Then let me close that door. I've already issued the public challenge. Let the human prove his worth in front of us all. Meanwhile, on the human ship Vigilant Hope, Jack stood in front of Commander Hadley. A no-nonsense woman with short gray hair and a voice sharp enough to cut steel. You broke protocol, she said, snuck onto an alien vessel during a restricted hour, interfered in a cultural ceremony without clearance. And now half the sector thinks you're engaged to an alien diplomat. Jack raised his hand slowly. Technically, we didn't say yes to anything. I'm not finished, Hadley interrupted. Despite that, Command has decided not to punish you. Jack blinked. Wait, what? Hadley's voice softened just a little. The video has sparked a reaction. Some think you embarrassed us. Others think you showed a kind of bravery that no one else dared to. The politicians are watching. Carefully, very carefully, she stepped forward, her eyes serious. You will return to the alien ship and face the duel. Not just for the girl, but for what it means, and Jack. Yes, ma'am. Don't mess it up. Back on the alien cruiser, Siren sat in her private quarters, holding the human coin in her hands.
Quite.
Her pendant glowed faintly nearby, pulsing with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. There was a knock at the door. Her father entered. Alone, for a long time, he said nothing. Then finally, he spoke. Do you understand what you've done? I did not plan it, she said softly. It happened like starlight falling on the ocean. You could have stopped it, he said. You could have pushed him away. You could have followed tradition. Siren looked up and lived. in a cage of silence for the rest of my life." Her father's face twitched. "He is not one of us. He is more like us than many of our own," she replied. "He listens, he learns, and he respects more than those born into power," Kirill sighed deeply, the weight of old values pressing on his shoulders. "You have made your choice then." She stood tall. "Yes, and I will face the circle with him." Hours later, the arena chamber filled with hundreds of alien leaders and guests. The circle in the center glowed blue. A traditional light of truth. The duel of hearts was not fought with weapons, but with words. It was a test of intention, honor, and courage. Jack stepped into the circle first, wearing simple gray clothes. Siren entered behind him. Dressed in ceremonial white, the crowd whispered, some curious, some furious. Varthok entered last, his armor polished, his voice booming. "This human does not belong. Let him prove otherwise." The High Arbiter raised a hand. "Begin." Varthok stepped forward. "You are nothing, human. You have no roots, no history with us, no standing. Why should anyone believe your feelings are real?" Jack didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at Siren. Then he spoke. "You're right. I have no roots here. I wasn't born in your stars. I didn't grow up with your laws or stories, but I learned something important." He turned to the crowd, his voice steady. "Feelings aren't limited to one species. They belong to whoever has the courage to feel them. I didn't fall for Siren because of her skin or her status. I fell because when I messed up, she didn't turn away. When I was honest, she listened." He held up the pendant she gave him. "This holds a memory. Oh, and I haven't even opened it yet because I want to earn it first." Gasps echoed through the arena. Siren stepped beside him. "You speak with truth," she said, "and truth is more precious than bloodlines." Varthok tried to speak, but the Arbiter raised her hand. "Enough. The truth has been spoken." The circle glowed bright white, the sign of purity, of sincerity. The crowd fell silent. Jack looked at Siren, surprised. "Wait, did we win?" She smiled for the first time all day. "You didn't just win, Jack. You changed everything." And far above the council ship, millions across the galaxy watched in silence, wondering what this human would do next. The stars outside the viewing deck stretched like silver threads across the endless dark. The ship moved in silence, but inside, hearts were loud with unspoken thoughts. Jack Carter sat alone by the observation glass, holding the glowing crystal pendant in his palm. Siren's memory rested inside it, untouched, waiting, but he still hadn't opened it. Not because he wasn't curious, but because he knew once he saw what was inside, things would never be the same. He heard soft footsteps. Behind him, he didn't turn. He already knew who it was. "You still haven't accessed it," Siren said, sitting beside him. Jack shook his head. "No, not yet. I wanted to be sure that I deserved to know." "You do," she said quietly. "I gave it because I trust you, not because I wanted you to earn it." He looked at her, really looked her silver markings, faintly glowing in the reflection of the stars, her calm face carrying a storm behind her eyes. "What's in it?" he asked gently. Siren hesitated, then said, "My childhood memory, the moment I stopped believing in love." Jack blinked, surprised. "That's heavy." "Yes." She nodded. "My mother was once in love with a human. It ended badly. Very badly. The council erased the record, buried the story, told me humans were dangerous, careless, wild." He leaned forward, stunned. "So this isn't the first time?" "No," she said, "but it might be the last if we fail." Jack looked down at the pendant again. Then slowly, he activated it. A soft light rose from the crystal, forming a holographic scene above their heads. A little alien girl, younger. Siren stood, crying beside her mother. A human male walked away through a field of glowing plants, leaving both of them behind, not looking back. Siren's voice in the memory whispered, "He said he loved us, but he still left." The light faded slowly, and silence returned. Jack closed the pendant carefully, holding it like it was something fragile, priceless. "Why show me this?" he asked. "Because I needed you to know that I'm scared," she said, "and that I don't want history to repeat." He took her hand, gently. "Then let's write a new story, a better one." For a moment, the galaxy outside felt smaller. Like it was listening. Suddenly, the ship shook, not violently, but enough to trigger a warning alarm. A red light blinked overhead, and a voice echoed through the intercom. "Unauthorized shuttle detected near the outer hull." Jack stood, alert. "What now?" Siren moved quickly to the console, checking the feed. Her expression darkened. "It's a spy craft, one of Varthok's allies. They're trying to send footage of us to the extremists on our homeworld. They still want to split." "US apart," Jack said. "Yes," she replied. "Some want to shame me, others want to hurt you." Jack didn't wait. He rushed toward the docking corridor. "I'm stopping that shuttle. You'll be outnumbered," Siren warned. Jack paused, then smiled over his shoulder. "Didn't stop me last time." He sprinted through the corridors, reaching the outer hatch just as the small spy shuttle attached to the docking clamp. Two masked aliens were already trying to hack into the main network. Jack didn't hesitate. He grabbed a heavy pipe from a wall compartment and charged in. The first attacker swung at him, but Jack ducked, slamming the pipe into the aliens. The second raised a stun stick, but Jack rolled aside and kicked his knee. Knocking him down, alarms blared. Footsteps approached. Backup was coming. Within seconds, the guards arrived and secured the scene. The attackers were taken away in cuffs, snarling in their native tongue. Jack stood, panting, bruised, but alive. Later, back in the medical bay, Siren sat beside him, cleaning the cut on his arm. "That was foolish," she said. "Yeah." Jack winced, "but also kind of fun." "You could have been hurt," she whispered. "I've been hurt before," Jack said softly, "but never like I would be if I lost you." Siren looked at him, her eyes full of something new. Not fear, not confusion, but a quiet, deep warmth. "I was afraid this would become a tragedy," she said. "But maybe it's becoming something beautiful." He reached into his pocket and pulled out the coin, flipping it in the air, catching it, heads or tails. "For what?" she asked. "For whether I kiss you," he said playfully. She smiled, a real smile, one that melted the stars outside. "You don't need a coin for that," and under the soft glow of the medical bay, as the ship drifted through the stars, they kissed, not as a human and an alien, not as soldier and diplomat, but simply as two hearts choosing each other, far away in a dark chamber. Varthok watched the scene from a stolen feed, his hands clenched into fists. His pride burned, his revenge was not over. The ceremonial chamber was silent, filled with leaders, warriors, elders, and observers from across the systems. Even humans from Jack's fleet were present now, invited as witnesses to what the aliens called the duel of cultures. This wasn't a battle of fists or weapons. It was something deeper, a test of soul, belief, and honor. In the center of the room was the circle of firelight, a glowing ring where truth would be revealed. The circle shimmered in gold and violet flame, responding to emotions. If someone lied, it would turn black. Jack Carter stood just outside the ring, dressed in a neutral robe given by the council. It felt strange on his body, like wearing history that didn't belong to him. Across the room, Varthok appeared, fully armored, tall and terrifying. His eyes burned with pride and anger. His steps were sharp, loud. Shaking the floor slightly with each move, Siren stood between them, her voice steady. Today is not about blood or titles. Today is about the value of intention, the weight of feeling. And whether two different hearts can stand together without shame, Varthok laughed. Feelings are soft. They do not guide warriors, they break them. Jack stepped forward into the circle. The firelight danced at his feet, warm and welcoming. Maybe that's why warriors lose more than they win, he said calmly, because they're afraid to feel. A murmur went through the crowd. Some nodded, others frowned. The High Arbiter. An ancient alien woman with white glassy eyes raised her staff. Let each challenger speak their truth. And let the circle decide. Varthok entered the ring. And the flames around him flared high. His voice roared through the chamber. This human is a stranger. He speaks too freely, touches what he does not understand, and dares to challenge the ways of our people. The fire stayed golden. Steady, he believed his words. He continued. He dishonors our traditions by pursuing one of our own, dragging her into whispers. Shame and scandal. He offers emotion, but no foundation, no legacy, no roots. Now the fire flickered. Just slightly, the Arbiter looked to Jack. Speak. Jack stepped forward, eyes locked on Varthok. Then turned toward the crowd. He's right. I am a stranger. I come from Earth, where emotions don't make you weak, they make you real. The fire brightened. I didn't plan to meet Siren, he said, voice clear, but when I did, I saw someone strong. Not because of her training or her titles, but because she stood up for her heart. The fire pulsed warmly. I don't have blood ties to your world, Jack admitted. But I'm willing to stand in front of all of you and say this. I care for her, deeply, and I will never leave her behind. Not like the human who did before. Gasps spread through the chamber. Even Siren's eyes widened. Varthok snarled. You know about that. Yes, Jack nodded. And I won't pretend to be perfect, but I'm not him. I'm me. And I'm not going anywhere. The flames turned brilliant white, rising around him like a crown of truth. The Arbiter raised her staff again. Let the audience judge. Let the ancient code decide. Shall this human be accepted or cast out? Silence. Then a single voice from the elders. He is honest. Another. He is brave. One more. He is different, but not dangerous. Suddenly, the crowd echoed with soft voices of agreement, rippling across the chamber like waves. A few remained cold, but most nodded. The Arbiter turned to Siren. And you, child of the stars, what do you choose? Siren stepped into the circle, her voice firm. I choose him. Varthok growled and slammed his armored fist into the ground. This is madness. No, Siren said. This is evolution. The Arbiter lowered her staff slowly. Then let it be recorded in the star song, the first bond between human and Alyari. Not forced by treaty or law, but by choice. The circle of fire dimmed and disappeared. The ceremony was over. Later that night, in the quiet garden between the halls, Jack and Siren walked alone under starlight. You surprised me, she said softly. You spoke the truth, even when it hurt. I figured your people would respect that. Jack smiled. Besides, I meant every word. Siren looked at him, her eyes deep and unsure. What if more people come after us? More Varthoks, more trials. Jack reached out, taking her hand gently. Then we'll face them. Together, she squeezed his fingers, her markings glowing with emotion. You're not like any human I studied, and you're not like any alien I imagined, Jack replied. But maybe that's the point. From behind the garden wall, a shadow moved. A figure watched them silently. Unseen, it wasn't Varthok. It was someone else. And their eyes weren't filled with anger, but curiosity. Something bigger was beginning, and the stars were watching closely. The galactic hall was filled with lights, flags, think thousands of species watching from their seats, above in the balconies, and across billions of screens across the systems. It was the first time a human and an Alyari were standing together, not as negotiators, not as enemies, but as something else entirely. Jack Carter stood in a dark blue uniform, clean and formal for once. Siren stood beside him in white and silver robes, her markings softly glowing with every heartbeat. A new treaty was being signed, not just a peace agreement, but a declaration of cross-species alliance, and at the center of it was them. The room quieted as they stepped forward to speak. Jack took the mic first, his voice steady. When I first met Siren, I didn't understand her world, her people, or her rules. Honestly, I messed up a lot. Laughter rippled through the room. But I also listened, Jack said. I asked questions. I stayed when others told me to leave. And what I found wasn't just an alien. I found someone worth fighting for. Siren stepped beside him, her voice soft but clear. My people taught me to hide emotion, to speak only what is expected. But this human did not speak with rules. He spoke with heart. That was strange. And frightening. A few Alyari elders nodded silently, their expressions thoughtful. But his honesty broke my walls, she continued, and helped me find my own voice. One not given by the council, but shaped by truth. Jack turned to her, smiling. So, can I ask you again? Siren raised a brow. Ask what? He took a deep breath, loud enough for the whole hall to hear. Siren, will you go to dinner with me? Again, the audience gasped, and then burst into laughter and cheers. Siren's cheeks turned purple again. Just like that very first day, she covered her face, shook her head, then slowly removed her hand, her smile wide and bright. Yes, Jack Carter, I will. But the moment was more than a joke, more than a second chance. It was a symbol. The Human Command Council sent their approval. The Alyari High Council responded. With a new emblem, two hands joined under stars. Carved into the ceremonial wall behind the speakers, the galaxy had changed. Later that night, in a quiet dome garden far from the crowd, Jack and Siren sat together, their feet in the cool stream. The stars above, glowing in quiet celebration. You know, Jack said, if someone told me a few months ago that I'd be standing in front of the galaxy with an alien diplomat who blushes purple when I flirt, I would have laughed. And if someone told me I'd let a human hold my hand in public, Siren replied, I would have ordered their memory erased. They both laughed softly, letting the silence fill with peace. Then Jack grew quiet. So, what happens next? Siren looked up, her silver eyes reflecting the moonlight. Next, we build something, a bridge, a new path for those who come after us. Jack smiled. That sounds big. It is, she said. But we're not alone anymore. She reached into her pocket and pulled out something small. The coin he gave her. It was tied to a thin silver chain now, worn as a pendant. You still have it, he said. I never let it go, she replied. It reminds me that not every toss is about chance. Some are about courage. Jack touched the glowing crystal pendant around his own neck, the one holding her memory. We both carry each other now, he whispered. Their hands met again under the stars, no longer as alien and human, but as something new, elsewhere. In a hidden chamber beneath the outer star colonies, a group of cloaked figures watched the footage in silence. Their leader, face hidden by metal and light, turned to the others and said, this union may bring peace or power. Watch them. They are no longer just lovers. They are the start of something greater. Back on the garden deck, Siren leaned against Jack's shoulder, eyes half closed. You know, you still say the strangest things, like, what? He asked, smiling, like that time you said you're the most beautiful creature I've ever seen. In my culture, that's usually said to a pet lizard. Jack laughed so hard he nearly fell into the stream. Well, that explains. The weird look you gave me, I didn't correct you, she said, teasing. Because I kinda liked it, so you're saying? You're my pretty lizard now. Siren rolled her eyes, then kissed his cheek. Only if you're my ridiculous space monkey. They laughed together. The stars above, blinking like old friends, and far across the galaxy, 2 hearts, 1 human, 1 alien beat in perfect rhythm, daring to love, daring to hope. It all started with a simple dinner invitation, 1 small blush, 1 giant leap.